Hey, what's up? I'm 3D. This is Tales from Driver's Seat. Just making sure everything is all copacetic. Okay. Anyway, away we go. So this is attempt probably number 7 on giving you guys the story of my education journey. We're getting edumacated today. So let me go ahead and start at the beginning. I graduated in 1999, so I didn't even graduate in this century. I didn't even graduate in this millennium. I know right now those are the same thing in, basically. So, which means that when I would have been taking my SAT or ACT, like the college placement tests that everybody likes to use, I would have been about 96, 97, roundabouts that time. So I would have been about 16, 17. I was a meek, awkward kid, and I internalized a lot of things that really had nothing to do with me, and that ended up playing a role in how I responded to how my parents reacted, specifically my mom, when I told her that in order to take one of those tests, we had to drive 30 miles and pay money to take the test because they don't offer it at the school anymore. She freaked out because that's, $40, which we didn't really have to spend, and a 30-mile drive that we shouldn't have to make. And she was pissed off at the injustice of it, but I internalized the hell out of that. Instead of hearing, well, 30 miles and $40, that's bullshit, I heard, I am not spending $40 and driving 30 miles on that for you. No. So, I took a lot of things harder than I should have, and I owned that. Oh, look, I'm J.J. Abrams. Oh, check it out. Okay. And that was a major part in why I did not go to college straight out of high school. I went to work. Me and my dad worked at the same place for a while. Nothing super cool happened. I thought about going to a trade school or something like that, studying a trade, learning a trade, because I thought college was a scam. I still do. College is most definitely a scam, but if it's a scam that I can get for free and get paid for going, then absolutely I'm going to go. Anyway, with that being said, I didn't always know that. I've learned a few things since being back in the day. So I ended up joining getting married in 2003, joined the Army in 2004, got out of the Army in 2005 on a medical discharge. Service-related disability. Hello, J.J. Abrams is behind me. So I got out, got service-connected, got divorced in 2006, found a new church to go to in 2007, found WTF, the website, in 2008, and then started Intoxication Nation and After Hours Shenanigans in 2009. Actually, I probably would have started in 2008 as well. So I found the site in 07, 08, somewhere in there. Started doing internet radio 2008, 2009. One of my co-hosts, we started connecting really well, and she moved in with me from out of state. So, imagine that happening, right? Stop jumping around. Picture on the phone. I apologize. So anyway, we initially, she wanted to go to college again, start that chapter of her life over. And at first, we were looking at a regular-ass 4-year university. Which, makes sense. You want to go to college, you want to go to a college. So, we check it out. That's a loud-ass truck. the college was about 40 miles away from where we were living, which, wouldn't have been a tremendously big deal. It's not bad at all. Not bad at all for a commute anyway, to go to college. But I didn't have a test score to submit, so I still would have had to pay to take that test, which I didn't have the money for. I wasn't prepared for. I showed up on the day to take it. I didn't even have a pencil to take it with, and I left. I couldn't find a place to park, even, so I was like, I'm out. I'm not doing this. And then we were gonna figure it out, I guess. But during orientation, we discovered that they were going to force us to live in dorms instead of with each other. And we were engaged to be married. We were living together. There was no way in hell we were going to move into separate dorms. And she had some trauma related to that, so she was not about that. So instead of doing that, I went and took a placement test at a community college and got in easily. She went to the same college until we broke up and she left the state, so she didn't finish, but she got me started. She made me want to. I was in the Army, so I had a few months of GI Bill benefits, only 16 months, but I figure something's better than nothing, and I can always get Pell Grants and student loans if I need them, which I did. But because it was a community college, the way they handled the grants and the money and stuff, you get that money after the school processes. It takes their cut, and then they give the rest to you. I needed that money for books and supplies and gas money, living expenses, stuff like that. But it took them time to process that. And sometimes they didn't even tell me that I was missing, or that my financial aid stuff came back. They needed extra verification. So they're waiting on stuff for me that I don't even know they're waiting on. So I have to, go in and check. It's like, oh, hey, they wanted to validate your submission, so they want these documents. Which, it was always really easy, but it would have been nice for them to communicate to me that they needed that, which they claim that they did, but there were no phone calls, there was no mail, there was no email. I literally never got that information. So it was really just, and that was kind of the theme of my early experiences. Here it is 10 years after I've graduated from high school. And I'm about to flunk out of community college because I can't afford to buy the books that I need to do the assignments to stay in the class. So that's where I was, and I was having tremendous issues with that. I was not having a good time. I was bugging the Bursar, and they were saying check with financial aid. I was bugging financial aid, and they were saying we need this, or they were saying we can't see the Bursar side, check with them. I'm waiting to get paid so I can get a book to take the class that I've been not doing the reading or assignments for 3 or 4 weeks. So I was in a spot, and I was angry, I was frustrated, and I was talking to all these people who were just not really helping me. And then one of them finally says, why don't you send an email to the Dean of Students? He likes to help students. I was like, oh, well, I guess, that's his job, being the Dean of Students. So let's send an email, let him know what's going on, and maybe I can make the situation better for future students so they don't have to go through what I'm going through right now. So I send the email, and the next day I get a phone call. It's his secretary saying that the Dean of Students wants to schedule a meeting with me. I was not expecting this. I was expecting a form, letter, email response, which is all too common, or no response at all. But I got a phone call and a meeting. I thought I was going to be set from here on out. So I show up to the meeting, and it's a freaking ambush. Sitting across the table from me, next to the Dean of Students, whom I haven't met before, is the the director of the financial aid for the campus where I was at. And she was looking unhappy because I had been a little harsh in the email, but I'm dropping classes because I can't afford books, for which I'm supposed to be getting financial aid. And it's just not helping. I'm not seeing the point of financial aid if it's not aiding me financially when I need it to aid me. So he's giving me the third degree. I'm really sorry about JJ. Go home, Mr. Abrams, sir. He's giving me the third degree. He's interrogating me over my email. And I'm having to defend myself against this, like, asinine character assassination. And the thing that he said that I took away from that meeting, which made me feel like he didn't care about my situation at all, was, if you don't have the money to go to school, then don't go. To which I should have responded, then what is the point of financial fucking aid? But instead, I was still very much that meek teenager who just said, yeah, okay. And I left that meeting feeling eviscerated. I felt attacked. I felt belittled. I felt devalued. Like I didn't matter to this person because I didn't have the money to send myself to community college in a suburb, well, in a city in Oklahoma. So it's not like it was a suburb, but it was located in kind of a suburb, this particular campus was. And, like, you know, all that's kind of irrelevant. How are you going to tell a disabled veteran going to school on financial aid that he doesn't deserve to be there because he can't afford to be there? At the time, I took, and for a while even, I took that message and internalized it as, like, you know, me failing at life. Like, I honestly didn't deserve to be there because I wasn't working hard enough to work myself through school. So it's like, I didn't even deserve to be there. I should basically just withdraw and go home, because they were going to get their money at that point regardless. But, so yeah, I was very unfair to one person. She was, I can't remember her name, but she was working very hard behind the scenes that I couldn't see, asking, like, is there any way that we can, like, process this to get him his money so that he can buy his books and not have to drop classes every semester? And I didn't see that, because, like I said, they weren't communicating with me anyway. And that was a resolution of that. I apologized profusely for how I talked about her, and then I was informed of how hard she was working. So that didn't end well, honestly. My grades were good, but that was about all. Like, you know, once I got books and was turning in assignments and stuff, I was doing really well. You know, I had a 4.0 until the semester I came out, and then, like, you know, that was a whole other issue. But I think that's where I'm going to stop this episode. I'm going to continue with part 2 and, like, kind of tell you how the rest of that journey goes, because there's some more bullshit, if you can believe that. So, naturally, as you can tell, I took what he said as a challenge, and I was like, well, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going. Like, even after, like, the relationship ended and the person that got me to start going was no longer in my life, no longer a factor for me, which, by the way, she's an awesome person. We're still really good friends, but, like, that's when I came out to myself, and I had, a huge emotional upset at that time to get over. But that's where I'm going to end this episode. Let me know what you think in the comments of what you think in the comments of someone telling a disabled veteran that if they can't afford to go to school, then they shouldn't go. Let me know how you feel about that. I'm 3D. This is Tales from the Driver's Seat, and I will see you in the next episode.